Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. You know what? I don't even want to play no more. This is
Why?
why I do.
No,
this
come
is why
on.
I don't do video
Please,
games. This is why I don't do video games. I can't do it.
I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's time to start live at 5. So,
You're right.
I'm gonna keep
so, so welcome everybody. Greetings. Welcome to Live at 5. I'm Jasmine, and I'm here with my sister Shay and Minister Key.
Hello.
And we are so pumped to tell you some things that we found out this today for Live at 5. So we want to start with Black excellence. As you all know, it is Black History Month. And what a great time to celebrate Black history. We know that there's been a lot of things going on in the world. And so we need to understand we are still important. Can y'all throw up that flyer, Did You Know? So that we can put some shine on some people who paved the way for a lot of us. So the person that started the Black History Month was Carter G. Woodson. He is the reason why we have a whole month of Black history. And next to him is Alvin Ailey. He is a person that took dance and cultivated into putting activism in it, and he made sure that he told the African American story through dancing. And then all of us know about Miss Rosa Parks. She is the reason why people were able to sit anywhere on the bus, and the title says Parks knew the driver. And so being a teacher, I just found out some things. I didn't know that Parks knew the driver. She actually had 3 encounters with him. The first encounter she had with him was when she was so tired from work, and the back, people had to go get on the bus on the back door. And it was so many people trying to get on the bus, and she was, I'm just so tired. So she went through the front doors, and they weren't supposed to do that. So when she went through the front doors, the driver kicked her off. And so that was that day. And then the second encounter she had with the driver, of course, was the day that she actually sat in a seat and would not get up for the white man to sit in the seat. So that was the second encounter. And then the third encounter she had with him was when she actually won the case, when they took it to court that anybody could sit on the bus. So, that third encounter, she probably was like smiling all in his face, like, now I can sit, right, like, now I can sit anywhere I want to sit. So we just want to put some shine on Black excellence. And I want to know from Brendan and Shay, what is Black excellence to you all?
So when I think of Black excellence, I literally think of like just the story of the Black person. And, even though their story might include a little bit of struggle, it might include a little test, a little trial here and there, it's taking that and using it as fuel to push you into your greater, like not letting that be a crutch or be an excuse as to why you can't succeed. Not to say like, oh, you're leveling up on people or like trying to get a one up, but it's to say like, even though I've been through X, Y, and Z, I can still be successful. I can still, make X amount of dollars. I can still create generational wealth for my family. So that's what Black excellence is to me.
For me, Black excellence is, you kind of said the generational wealth piece, and I think about generational knowledge. So, passing on what you know and the things that you know to your kids or your nieces or your nephews, and, being an example for them to be able not just to see, but to be able to follow and, to love. I feel like Black excellence embodies the family in itself. One person can experience Black excellence on their own and get to shine on their own, but when they bring their family into it, it's kind of like, okay, now this is when where it really means the most. When the kids are cultured, when the family is cultured, and there's an understanding of what their history means and how they can change the future. So that's what I think about with Black excellence.
Well, I cannot disagree with anything that you all said, but I think there's somebody who wants to share and shine some light on a special person for Black excellence. So Sam, can you tell us about Black excellence?
Yes, I surely can. Hello, everybody. I know usually on the soundboard, not on the screen, but I have been selected to bring forth to you all some people who have been shining in the Biden administration as he has chose them for his new team. So first, talk about Stacey Abrams. So who is Stacey Abrams? An American politician, lawyer, voting rights activist, and author who served in the Georgia House of Representatives from 2007 to 2017. Now, this year, Stacey Abrams has been nominated for this year's Nobel Peace Prize for her work to promote nonviolent change. Abrams, who was credited with boosting voter turnout last year, helping Joe Biden win the U.S. presidency, joins a long list of nominees for that Nobel Peace Prize award. It is said that Abrams' work follows in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s footsteps in the fight for equality before the law and for civil rights. Moving on, we got Michael Reagan. All right, Reagan, who is 44, will be the first black man to run the EPA. He is an A&T graduate student. He is an A&T graduate, Aggie Pride, and a native of the Goldsboro, North Carolina area. He will play a central role in realizing Biden's promise to combat climate change, embrace green energy, and address environmental racism. Now, as a young person, Reagan he saw toxic pollution, agricultural waste, and environmental destruction being contracted near communities of color and low-income communities. So we know he's going to do some big things, and he is the head of the EPA. Moving on to Miss Kristen Clarke. She is an American attorney who is the president of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law. She previously managed the Civil Rights Bureau of the New York Department of Law under Eric Schneiderman. In 2019, Clarke successfully represented Taylor Dupson, the first Jamaican-American woman student body president of American University, in her landmark case against white supremacists. On January 6, 2021, Clarke was nominated to the position of United States Attorney General for the civil rights under the Biden administration. And last but not least, our very own Pastor Drumwright. Yes, sir. Y'all see, look, this is our man of God. Y'all see that pose? This is what Black excellence is looking like in 2021. I apologize. Now, this excerpt, you can find this on our website if you want to get your own copy. But he took a look back in 2020, and one thing that 2020 has taught him is that racism is something that Tylenol can't heal. Very beautiful message. Please get your copy. You can find it on our website. But Pastor, we appreciate you and we love all that you have done for us. Look, y'all see this photo? Look at it. Y'all see it? Look, I was here when he took this photo shoot. I thought it was just a photo shoot for a magazine, but he gave this excerpt and it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's an amazing read. Definitely get your copy on our website. And now, just throwing it back to you, Jasmine.
We could not agree that Pastor definitely deserves to be on the cover of a magazine. He is doing so many things. He is paving the way. And speaking of paving the way, we got some Citadel Shakers that we want to acknowledge also with our Black excellence. So Shay, tell us about our Citadel Shakers.
Yes. So every month we are offering opportunity for, our Citadel sisters and brothers to just kind of shed light on a little bit of their accomplishments that they've achieved, whether it be obtaining scholarships, getting grants, their career accomplishments, things like that. So we just want to highlight a few people. Yeah. First, we have our brother Chris Owens, who is a December 2020 graduate of the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, where he obtained his BS degree in chemistry education. He's been afforded with the opportunity to put that degree to immediate use as an earth science teacher at High Point Central High School in High Point, North Carolina. Okay. Where he's currently the youngest teacher in his entire school. Like, what a way to make your entrance. Yeah. Like, right after college, you got a career head first into your career, and being the youngest one there, like, that is crazy. Yes. Secondly, we want to highlight Miss I'm so sorry. Jory Edwards. I'm getting tongue-tied up here. She is a teacher at the Philo Hill Magnet Academy in Forsyth County, which is Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She just recently received her certification in phlebotomy, which has led her into a new position as an infectious disease technician at LabCorp. That is so big, right? It's
like a
dope.
scientist.
Right. And so basically what they do is they receive over 10,000 specimens per day and examine them for any infectious diseases, including COVID-19.
Wow.
So if you ever wanted to go to LabCorp and see if you really got COVID or not, go see Jory.
She went from science teacher to scientist.
Yes.
Congratulations, Jory. Oh
Faith
my
to
gosh.
faith and glory to glory. We love to see it. Finally, we are going to highlight Miss Morgan Futrell, who is a graduate student at North Carolina A&T. She was accepted into the master's program in mental health rehabilitation counseling. Her testimony is so beautiful because she was doubting herself like the whole entire time before she got into grad school. You know how we start to feel like inadequate about things like that. You know, we feel like we don't have what it takes to be in such a prestigious program like that. And so in her essay and actually getting into school, she just shared her testimony pretty much. She just shared, you know, the glory of God, you know, letting the admissions team know like, hey, this is what I've been through and this is how God pulled me through it. And her being so vulnerable and transparent, they offered her admission to the school. So now she is underway in her master's program. She's doing it big. And in May 2023, she'll receive her master's in rehabilitation counseling and beginning her career as a mental health professional.
Wow.
Like, you go, Morgan. We're so proud of you, girl.
Yes.
So proud of you.
Well, we are proud of all our Citadel Shakers for this month, and it's more to come. Everybody has a spot, so don't even feel slighted if your name won't called out. This is just an amazing time to celebrate a lot of people.
So this is also opportunity for people to send their accomplishments in. So if there's anything that you've done or anything that you feel like, you know, that was an accomplishment or something that we can celebrate here on Live at 5, definitely send it to us at admin@citadelofpraise.com. That way we can let the people know that you had an accomplishment.
Because we want to highlight you.
Exactly.
So we know that this Sunday is a pretty big deal, huh?
Yep.
Super Bowl, son.
So it's
You're excited about that.
I don't really watch Super
We
Bowl.
just come for the food.
Right? Exactly right.
So as we talk about the Super Bowl, this is a big year, especially following George Floyd's summer and just the social justice movement. And the biggest thing that I've been able to recognize is, you know, Colin Kaepernick's part in the NFL, right? So we talked about some movers and shakers, and then we talked about we're talking about Colin Kaepernick. But before we get to him specifically and asking the major question, the big elephant in the room, The Weeknd is headlining the Super Bowl.
The Weeknd.
So a 30-year-old, I think he's about 30 years old, musician is headlining the Super Bowl. And he's not doing it on the field like we would usually do it, but he's doing it on the stands.
Wow.
So this is the first time anybody has ever been able to have the Super Bowl halftime performance on the stands, right? So he's making history himself, first off. Second off, Jay-Z and Rock Nation have hired this guy, Jesse Collins.
Wow.
Now, Jesse Collins is a brother. And this guy right here has been hired to be the executive producer of the halftime show. Nice. Now, how about that? We got Jay-Z, Rock Nation, The Weeknd, and Jesse Collins. Four brothers. Well, Rock Nation is headed by a brother, of course. But all making moves in this national realm that last year and years before were associated with, you know, racial bias, right? So the big thing is that there's leadership in the midst because of Colin Kaepernick's his stance on social justice. So the big piece about Colin Kaepernick's stance is that the NFL has actually put out a statement on how they and what they believe in regards to social justice and the Black Lives Matter movement. Can you all play that video for us right quick?
Our country, in particular, Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier, and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter. I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much needed change in this country. Without Black players, there would be no National Football League. And the protests around the country are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of Black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening. I am listening. And I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family.
So the commissioner of the NFL has released a statement saying that they believe Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
We'd love to see it.
That's pretty lit, right?
Yeah.
So even if you weren't planning on watching the Super Bowl, or if you're still standing up for, you know, what you believe in regards to racial injustice and bias, the NFL has come out with a statement to say, you know what? We are sorry for not jumping on what we should have. We're sorry for not saying that Black lives do matter.
Right.
We're sorry for not, you know, being a part of the movement, not just because it's a benefit for the NFL, but because, as the commissioner said, hey, Black lives do matter.
Right. Exactly.
So I think that's really big. So the question I was going to ask the people, and I'll ask you all, is, are y'all watching the Super Bowl tomorrow? I mean, since the NFL released a statement.
You know, I might peek in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna watch the halftime show though. Definitely gonna watch it.
I've never watched the Super Bowl. I'm just being honest. Like, I've never watched it. I've watched the halftime show and the commercials.
Yeah, same.
You know, that was my thing.
Yes.
Even before all of this. So I don't think that I still watch it.
So my bro Dre, he said if Kaepernick's not watching it, I'm not watching it.
Right.
Okay,
So
that makes
you know
sense.
we got to make sure that
Makes
you know
sense.
Dre definitely is shouted out on this.
Right.
Also, I know y'all like ice cream. I know,
Okay.
right? I know y'all like
We
it.
do.
Okay.
We do.
So I couldn't say this without mentioning Colin Kaepernick's social justice movement and Ben and Jerry's. So check out these pictures right quick. Ben and Jerry's has actually produced a change the world flavor of vegan ice cream.
Wow.
Just because it's a movement that Colin Kaepernick has started. So this right here, B Mike C2 on Twitter, he is a tag artist, and he actually produced this graphic. There are murals and paintings all over, and a billboard. Check it out. That states "I know my rights." So this is
so dope.
This is producing change, because even a vegan ice cream, like non-dairy, I know that might seem simple to some people, but if the change is happening on the field, it can definitely happen off the field as well.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
and this is a brother too.
Yes.
We love
This
it.
is a black man.
excellence.
Love it.
Black
Love it,
excellence,
love it.
producing anti-racism and love for all people. So, Colin Kaepernick, we definitely know that you have made a statement, and we've got people all around the world that are excited about what you've done, and making and moving and shaking for what black excellence means in the NFL.
Look, I'm trying to see what kind of stuff was in there. I might go get it.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of this justice and Black Lives Matter and really trying to keep the ball going, even if times are getting better, we know that there is something we still have to do. So we want to hear from our brother Corey about the DA, Fannie Willis. So can you tell us some more about that, Corey?
Oh God. How y'all doing? Look, I'm not going to be before you long. Thank you, Miss Jazz, for the Passover. I'm here to talk to you guys today about the district attorney that's been elected to Fulton County. If you did not know, that's the largest county in Georgia. And not only is she the new district attorney, but she is the first woman and the first black woman to hold the position. And this is good news, but sadly, that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. She has beat the long-standing district attorney, the uncle of Dwight Howard, Mr. Paul Howard, who served for over 6 terms. That's 20 years. 20 years, count them, 20. And I'm here talking to you about her today because of what's going on. If you did not remember, This is the place where Rayshard Brooks was killed. And Paul Howard is the district attorney that put forth the effort to make sure that the two cops who were responsible for this murder were going to be put to trial. Now, I'm going to list all of the accolades, some things that you should know about Fannie Willis. She used to work for Paul Howard as a prosecutor in his office. And along with that information, we found out that she has a record that shows she is more than capable of being over this case. And all of this points to, all of this would have us ideally believing she would be the right person fit to be able to handle this case and trial. Again, she's a black woman, black excellence, and she's doing her thing, but she is making a case that she and the office of Fulton County District Attorney should not be able to be over this case because of her predecessor, Paul Howard, allegedly violating a Georgia bar rule. A Georgia bar rule. But what we do not hear about that is public record, and what I believe and some people in this room believe is the reason as to why she is trying to get this case out of Fulton County into the hands of Chris Carr, a right-wing Republican who is the general, what's it called again? The Attorney General, praise the Lord, the Attorney General for the state of Georgia. She's doing this because she was funded by the police. And this brotherhood is called the Brotherhood, hang on. The Brotherhood of Police Officers. And this is a well-known brotherhood that has been an advocate for police, since they got started. They don't see that police should be charged with anything as far as excessive force and things like that. And we have this beautiful black woman who was elected with the assumption and the thought that she was going to try this case. And it even says one of her running points was to be somebody that was going to hold police officers accountable for using excessive force. But she is using the fact that her predecessor used evidence in his campaign as a reason as to why the office should not be able to try this case. I mean, it's very questionable. Like I said, her background shows that she is more than capable. It shows that she is more than able. And with what she said, she should be more than willing. And let's not forget she's black. But check the facts. She was funded by the police. And the only thing they had against Paul Howard was the fact that he mishandled and misrecorded some money that he earned from nonprofit organizations and a couple other things as far as allegations that have been swept under the rug. But as far as they were saying in the news, it was Alien versus Predator. That's how they referenced it. But out of the two, he was the best one for the job. But this is what they got so far. I'm about to toss it back to y'all. Thank you for the opportunity and be blessed.
Black woman saying this is a bias, conflict of interest. You don't really hear people saying that about themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So it kind of sounds a little cop-outish to me. But
Sketch.
Who am I? I don't know nothing.
Well, as we talk, I know we spoke about who she was, but I want to go back real quick to talk about Kristen Clarke. Mm-hmm. As much black excellence as she has posited, she actually was the one who gave our pastor the award this summer.
Yes.
That award, I forgot the name of the award.
The Frank R. Parker.
Award. The Frank R. Thank you, Shay. Thank you. The Frank R. Parker Award. She gave him that award for doing so much justice work in the community and around the nation. So we don't want to forget about that. Thank you, Kristen Clarke, for giving Justice for the Next Generation that award. We really appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. So it's Black History Month, and it's one part that I just don't want to neglect. So even though it's Black History Month, we have been faced with a lot of things. Police brutality, watching people storm the Capitol and nothing happens to them. So I just want to lift up mental health. I don't know if you all heard about the police officer, Deputy Clyde. He is coming from Louisiana, in the police department, and he was a police officer and in the military for 5 years. He loved children, and he really wanted to help them. He oftentimes found himself trying to help children when they're struggling, or he would literally give the shirt off his back to anybody that needed the help. But after being in after being in the force for 5 years, he decided to finally quit. And he opened up in one of his videos about how he believed that the system did not care about us. He said in his words, he called it a demonic system.
Wow.
He called it, he had experiences where, of course, you do a drug bust, and he's seen people get murdered over stuff like that. And he's like, they didn't have to die.
Yeah.
So he took it upon himself to quit the force. But unfortunately, he committed suicide. And I really wanted to pull out this mental health piece because it's so important. We think that the people who are in that force that are black, we feel like, oh, they stand with everything that's going on. They stand with the police brutality, but we honestly don't know that they're actually probably struggling to stand with the people, to stand with their career, knowing that I got in this career to help other people. I got in this career to protect and serve, but the people in the system they don't even care to protect and serve people like me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, it's so unfortunate that he had to get beat up on mentally for 5 years, and that he mentioned in the video, he said, I did try to say stuff, but it would just got pushed to the corner, or just something that they would not open their eyes to see. So we just want to take the moment to lift up his life, and hopefully the things that he really wanted to implement. He wanted to have a program for children. He called it an Explore program, where children, he said, kids always think they want to be police officers, but they don't know everything that comes with this job. And he said we need to bring back Beyond Scared Straight. He said we need to bring some mentorships to help these children to understand what it is to really be a police officer. And he even believed that they need to bring standardized training for the police officers, so they know protocol, so they know how to treat other people, treat people like us, and how to really function in that system. So again, it's.
I was talking to a police officer yesterday, and he said one big thing is that even from the military to just the police force, you can be a police officer at 18, but they say, psychologists would say that a person's mind doesn't finish developing until the age of 25. So you got people that are 18 to 25 that are given a gun and a badge and power, and their minds are still not developed yet. And even with that level of instability, they're coming from, a lot of police officers in certain areas are coming from places where they've never been around black people, or they've been around these certain views and values, and they don't even know that they're racist. They don't know that there's a bias because they've never been subject to being told that there's a racial bias within them. So, we're dealing with not just racism as a word, but with racism as an ideal that some people don't know that they're experiencing. And I think that's what this justice movement was about. Was about acknowledgement and notifying, the culture, that, bro, sis, you're racist. You know what I mean? Also, one thing that I really appreciate, talking to the police officer too, about our police departments here in Greensboro and around the world, of course. But there are, instead of just bringing a cop to a crime scene, they're now bringing a police officer and a counselor.
Oh, wow.
So the whole defund the police or police reformation portion of the justice summer that we've experienced, they're now bringing counselors in addition to officers to these places, whereas before they would just bring officers and expect them to know how to handle people.
Wow. Yeah.
But now counselors are there to be able to say, okay, this is what's happening. Let's talk. Let's move forward in this vein instead of let me just arrest you.
Yeah.
Something else that they're doing, in addition to, just the change that I know Kerr was talking about in his eulogy that he gave before he committed suicide. Some police departments are now taking those off of the young officers and giving them like an internship program, or they're phasing them into these policing roles, so they're not just given a gun and a badge anymore. You know
That
what I'm
makes
saying?
sense.
And vetting them a little heavier. So I think that's great, because that's what we need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just giving somebody a badge and power and then expecting them not to shoot somebody. Like,
Right, exactly.
They
It's not
get power happy.
Yeah, like when you're that young, especially like 18, and like you just are kind of like, that's probably like your first time holding a gun, so you're like nervous, you don't really know what to do. Like, so I'm glad that they are making those changes. Like our pastor said, changes within our reach.
Yes.
So prayerfully, that it helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So we just definitely want to continue to make people aware of the mental health that is so important for each of us to have. So that is it for our Live at 5. But before we go, we want to share some announcements. So tomorrow we have our Sunday worship. So excited to be in worship on Sunday at 3 p.m.
It's first Sunday.
First Sunday, so make sure you go ahead and find you a honey bun, as Pastor would say, or a cracker or cinnamon roll, and get you some grape juice and be ready for communion tomorrow.
Yes.
So we hope you all have an awesome day, and thank you for joining us for Live at 5.